The blue light of the monitor reflected in Sterling's eyes, cold and unwavering. On the screen, the grainy footage from the hidden camera played in a loop. Cassandra, his wife of 7 years, laughing as she handed his father's purple heart to Marcus like it was a piece of scrap metal. Sterling didn't scream. He didn't storm into the bedroom where Cassandra was likely scrolling through luxury real estate listings in Miami. He simply sat in the dark, the silence of the study pressing against his chest. The betrayal wasn't a sudden blow. It was a slow, freezing realization that the woman he had loved was a masterpiece of fiction. He looked at the message from the private investigator. The seller in London is someone you've known your entire life. His hand drifted to the sealed black case on the desk. Never open this unless someone you love betrays you, his father had said. The brass latch felt heavy, almost warm, as if it were pulsing with the same grief Sterling was trying to suppress. He didn't open it. Not yet. He needed to see how far the rod extended before he used his father's final weapon. The next morning, Cassandra was in the kitchen, the sunlight making her look like the angel Sterling had once worshipped. She poured him coffee, her voice a soft, practiced melody. "Sterling, honey, you're still obsessing over those old things," she said, her eyes landing on the empty space where the display cases used to be. The robbery was a sign. It's time to let go of your father's ghosts. Sign the papers. Let's both be free. I'm just trying to understand the timeline, Cassandra, Sterling replied, his voice calm, his expression masked in a practiced, gentle sorrow. The police are still puzzled by how the security loop glitched so perfectly. Cassandra let out a sharp, mocking laugh. It was a sound he'd never heard before, jagged and condescending. The police are as stuck in the past as you are. You're weak, Sterling. You're so busy being a good man that you didn't notice the world moved on without you. Your father's legacy is just dust and old stories. Why do you insist on drowning in it? She stepped closer, her hand touching his shoulder. Felt like I signed the divorce and I might actually feel some pity for you. Otherwise, you're just a pathetic man holding on to a history that doesn't exist anymore. While Cassandra took errands that lasted 6 hours, Sterling began the surgical dismantling of her life. He didn't use his home computer. He used a burner laptop, tracing the digital breadcrumbs. He found it, a series of encrypted transfers to a shell company called Ares Acquisitions based in Miami. The CEO was Marcus Thorne, a man the media called a disruptor in the luxury world, but Sterling saw him for what he was, a scavenger. Sterling watched a video of Marcus at a gala. He was smooth, his smile too bright, his suit too sharp. He spoke about liberating historical artifacts for private appreciation. It was a euphemism for theft. Then Sterling found the flight records. Cassandra hadn't been visiting her sick aunt in Richmond for the past 3 years. She had been flying to Miami. The marriage hadn't just cooled, it had been a tactical extraction mission. Every "I love you" was a progress report. Every anniversary was a milestone in a heist that had been planned since the day they met. Elias, the appraiser, arrived at the house unannounced 2 days later. He didn't look at the empty shelves. He looked only at Sterling. "You found the London connection," Elias said, his voice like dry parchment. It wasn't a question. "A name I know," Sterling said, "but the PI won't give me the identity until the paperwork clears." "Who is it, Elias?" The appraiser walked to the window, watching Cassandra pull into the driveway in her new Mercedes, a car she claimed was a gift from her mother's estate. "History is rarely what we are told, Sterling," Elias whispered. "Your father didn't just collect medals. He collected secrets. The robbery wasn't about the gold or the history. It was about the record." "What record?" Elias turned, his eyes piercing. "The reason your father told you to wait for betrayal before opening that case isn't because of the treasure inside. It's because the truth inside would be too heavy for a man who still believed in loyalty. But you don't believe in that anymore, do you?" Before Sterling could answer, Cassandra walked in. The air in the room turned brittle. She looked at Elias with a flash of genuine fear, the first crack in her armor, before masking it with a sneer. Cassandra became bolder. She stopped hiding the burner phone. She spoke to Marcus in the hallway, her voice a low, suggestive purr, laughing about Sterling's noble silence. "He's a dog waiting for a master who's already dead," she whispered into the phone, unaware that Sterling was listening through a micro-receiver he'd installed in the vent. "The medals are already in the London crate. Once the divorce is signed, we move the black case. I don't care if it's heavy, Marcus says it's the key to the whole estate." Sterling sat in the study, his heart rate steady. He realized then that the marriage was never about him. It was about the estate protections his father had built. Under the state's legacy trust laws, the property couldn't be touched unless the marriage was dissolved or the trustee was proven unfit. The robbery wasn't just to steal the collection. It was to break Sterling's mind, to make him appear unstable, to give Cassandra the legal leverage to seize the entire legacy. The private investigator sent the final file. The London seller, the person who had been moving his father's items through the European markets. Sterling's breath hitched. He went back to the hidden camera footage from the night of the robbery. He had watched it 100 times, focusing on Cassandra and Marcus. He played the final 3 minutes, the part he had skipped in his initial grief. On the screen, Cassandra and Marcus are finishing the crates. They look toward the door of the study. They don't look afraid. They look respectful. A third person walks into the frame. He is tall, silver-haired, and wearing a coat Sterling recognized. The man reaches out and touches the sealed black case with a familiar, possessive gesture. He turns slightly toward the camera, his face catching the moonlight. Sterling felt the world tilt. The air left his lungs. He knew that face. He had buried that man 12 years ago. He had stood at the grave, held the folded flag, and felt the dirt hit the casket. Sterling looked at the photo the PI had sent from the London boutique. It was the same man. The final line of the PI's report scrolled onto the screen. Subject identified. He's been operating under the name, The Ghost, for over a decade. But his real name is your father's brother, the one who supposedly died in the war. Sterling looked at the black case. The latch seemed to groan under the weight of a secret that spanned generations. The robbery was only the beginning. Cassandra wasn't the real mastermind. The truth inside the black case changes everything. The betrayal goes deeper than a cheating wife. The legacy you thought you knew is a lie. Subscribe now for Season 3, where the dead return, the black case finally opens, and the real revenge begins.